Eddie, Andrew Saville, Television New Zealand.
Hey mate.
It's been a while.
Good to see you.
Likewise. I remember fondly back to the World Cup semi in 2019, that week when you played us like a fiddle. You suggested we were useless reporters, you suggested that the All Blacks were spying, the All Blacks were on the run. What sort of morsels have you got for New Zealand this week?
Oh, well, for us it's the most important game of the year. You know, it's New Zealand rugby versus Australian rugby. There's nothing better than that. So if that's a big enough morsel, take it away, mate.
That's a big morsel. How confident are you that you've got the players to match, if not beat the All Blacks, if they play at pace like they've done the last couple of tests?
Yeah, well, everyone wants to play at pace. They're not the only team in the world that's got a mortgage on pace. But Australia versus New Zealand, Melbourne Cricket Ground, it'll be a different sort of game.
Eddie, you mentioned that you were holding Carter Gordon back a couple of weeks ago, like coming over the rise, I think was your analogy. What were the thought processes behind you giving Carter the number 10?
Well, it's a Bledisloe Cup game. It's his hometown. It's the best game to make a debut. Yeah, we always wanted to, at some stage in the lead up to the World Cup. You know, there's two things here. We've got the Bledisloe Cup on Saturday, but also because of the timing of how I've come into the job, we're preparing for the World Cup. So I'm trying to do two things at once and feel that this week's the right week to go, and no one better than against the Kiwis.
Big stage, 80,000 people expected. You know, what have you seen in Carter that gives you confidence he's got that temperament to handle the job?
Just the way he keeps preparing, keeps improving himself. His ability to recover from mistakes has improved immeasurably, even in the short time he's been with us. You know, for most players, that's one of the key areas of their game. You know, a game of Test match rugby, there's at least 30 errors, which means that ball in play, there's an error nearly every minute of the game, and your ability to recover from the error and get on to the next thing is so important.
When you first saw Carter up close and personal in April, did you think that he was likely to play a rugby championship match?
Yeah, 100%, mate.
What was it that really stood
Well,
out?
to me, if you look back at players past great tens, he's got a bit of a mixture of Butch James defensively, like he's a tough kid, and then he's got that little bit of a glide that Larkham had. You know, he can take the ball at pace. He's got a good short passing game, and he's got a good long passing game.
And you've got to take down inside another young guy. What's the thinking about having those two there?
Well, we want to play at pace, which, you know, I know New Zealand think they've got a mortgage on it, but as I said, other teams can play at pace. I mean, and we feel that it's a good time to play Tate and Carter together.
And someone who does have a lot of pace, Fraser McBride, he's not there, Tom Hooper is. Talk us through that selection.
We just feel it's a battle at the breakdown. You know, we didn't get enough pressure on the Argentinian ruck last week, and we feel that Tom can do that job for us.
Hi Coach, you were in an interesting position of coaching another team against the All Blacks last year. Is any of what you learned in that game relevant for this one?
My history against the All Blacks, against New Zealand's important. That it's always the biggest game, mate. It's the best in it. You're playing against the best in the world, and when you're playing against them, not many people think you can win. So that's the opportunity for us.
Do you think you're the one team in the world, though, that can match this All Black team with talent, with skill, with pace?
We never think we're the one team in the world. You know, we're an Australian team, we're developing, we're moving along a pathway, but can we put the Kiwis under pressure on Saturday? Yes, and a lot of pressure. And maybe they're going to get a bit of a surprise. Because, yeah, you can see the way you're sitting here, you think, what is this bloke talking about? How can that Australian team take on New Zealand? You know, we've been fantastic the first two games, and you have been, mate. So you've been really fantastic. So you haven't changed, you're still fans with keyboards, right? So nothing's changed.
But I still think Kiwis fear the Wallabies to a certain degree because...
Well, to a certain degree, you know, you always put a claimer on it. So we're ready to go, mate, and we'll see what happens.
Eddie, Andrew Callaway and Joy Pateo haven't played much rugby this year, but what have you seen from them that gives you confidence they can go the distance? So it's just a training?
Yeah, no, they've done their rehab really well. And again, you know, this two-tiered plan we've got to have. We've got to start giving players who are going to feature in our World Cup opportunity to play. They've done all the work. They've trained well. Can't fault the dedication of the players. Really good. And you know, we're ready for a really good performance. And what a better occasion. 85,000 people, I reckon. 85,000 people. Come to watch the Kiwis play. Come to watch the Kiwis play. We're so excited about it. We'll all play our little bit.
Did you always see Jordan as an outside setter? Obviously, the last World Cup that hasn't played a lot.
Well, I remember seeing him in 2019. You know, Czech pulled him out of nowhere and he played in that quarter-final. And he did a couple of electric things. And, you know, he's been in and out, had a fair bit of injury concern, but he trained yesterday with some power and pace. And, you know, he's going to be a great player for us.
In 2019, I think you, in that England setting, you picked a finishing 15, almost equally with the starting 15. Was that a similar theory here? Have you looked for a bench strategy? There's a lot of, you put Arnold back on the bench as a good shooter.
Yeah, well, you got to get out of the gates against New Zealand. You know, so we picked a young team. Yeah, I don't think I've ever picked a younger test team. I think we've got 290 caps and starting 15. Marty doesn't know. He's not good on maths, Marty. I think we're about 200. It's a very young team. 290 caps. The All Blacks would have, I'd say, close to 1,000. So we've got a young team out there ready to take them on. Not much past history. Just ready to play, and we want to play Australian rugby. And then we've got a very experienced bench. You know, guys like Slipper and Nick and Quaid come on, and it'll be a different role for them. It'll be an interesting finish to the game.
Is that no past history a factor in your thinking this
week? One of the things, yeah, definitely.
Your backs are at full strength, Sam Kane.
Fantastic, mate.
What do you make of that?
Really good. You only want to play against the best.
No B team from New Zealand.
No.
Eddie, Alan, an easy decision as captain this week, and I guess how close was he to being among those original co-captains?
Oh, we don't have to worry about that, mate. All we have to worry about this week, and he's led the team really well. He's got great support from Tate, great support from Nick, great support from James, and again, it's another development of the team. You know, we need to have 3 or 4 guys who can captain the team. You know, as New Zealand this week are missing their captain, so they've got a new captain. And I think that's, you know, if you look at the way rugby is at the moment, you've got to be adaptable in that area. You know, I heard someone saying this is our 3rd centre pairing, but this is the first time Patea's been injured. Karevi's coming back from a long-term injury. So, you know, is this our best centre combination this week?
Alan, what's the energy been like from those young fellas that are getting their start? Tom Hooper, you know well from the Brumbies.
No, fresh energy. fresh energy, but really good, mate. Yeah, the vibe's been really good. Yeah, last week and especially this week as well. Like, the energy at training's been awesome, man. You know, so that belief is there. The group's connected. You know, we're just slowly dialing up that excitement. You know, got to walk around MCG yesterday and have a look at the stadium and picture what it'll look like with 85,000 people. That's going to be amazing, man. You know, so the boys can't wait.
Is that excitement the same for every test as a Wallaby, or does it intensify when you play the All Blacks?
Well, I think it just depends. Like, I think the environment of the stadium, understanding, you know, the boys are throwing out numbers of the tickets sold already, and that brings excitement. Understanding it's our last home game in front of our fans, you know, wanting to put on a performance for them. Yeah, that's what excites us, you know, to be able to put on the gold jersey in front of thousands of people here at Melbourne. Yeah, that's what is exciting, you know, about Saturday.
Alan, you got to captain the Wallabies last year in Europe, but getting to lead them here in Australia, is that more exciting for you, or just as special as that?
I think every occasion to lead your country is special, you know, and I never really think about it for a personal milestone. It's just what I need to do for the team, you know, and I think we've been building greatly over the last few days, you know, and what we want to see is we want to see the way that we've trained just translate to Saturday, you know, and the way as leaders, that's our job to help the boys be composed in that manner, but also to help them, bring their best for Saturday. So we prepared really well, and like I said, the boys are keen.
Alan, last year you had a New Zealander as the head coach. Probably a different dynamic in a Bledisloe week when you've got an Australian as the Wallabies head coach. Is there a different feel around that?
No, I wouldn't say there's a different feel. I think we're just at different stages now. Like, we've really focused on us throughout this week. We know what the All Blacks are going to bring, but our focus the last few days has solely been on us. We've had some critical conversations. We've applied that straight away, and we've applied that at training, and I think that's the best form of preparation for us. So that's where my focus has been, throughout this week and leading into Saturday.
Alan, can you just tell us a bit about Tom Hooper, probably involved in the chats when he played 7 against the Chiefs in that semi-final? What does he bring to that role? It's not a role that he plays very often.
Yeah, he's a big boy, but someone that works hard. He works hard. He's got a big engine. He's always willing to learn. He's always out there doing his extras. He's always in the coach's pocket asking for questions. But mate, he's always trying to get better. And that's a perfect attribute to have as a young man who strives to be the best. So. He's just a bit unlucky in South Africa with his injury, but he gets another opportunity, and he's been training really well, so keen to see him rip in.
With Michael Hooper obviously still in,
Yeah.
Is this a chance for you to look at that bigger 7 model? Is that part of the thinking?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the best game I saw from Australian 7 was Tom against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are obviously a very good team in Super Rugby, and he's the way he competed hard at the breakdown against those guys was first class. And, he can do a job for us on Saturday as well.
Is Pete Summers still in your thinking? You
Yeah.
let him go out of this squad, but he played that role in this game last year.
Yeah.
Coach, do you have much of a relationship with Ian Foster? Do you guys catch up and hang out or anything?
Yeah, don't mind having a glass of red with him.
Yeah.
Good man.
What have you made of his experience over the last few years? It's been pretty up and down.
I think, as I said at the time, I really felt for him. You had a board that reacted to media pressure in an appointment of a coaching job. He could go on and produce one of the greatest All Black teams. And then his fate's already sealed. And I think that's why we've seen a different approach from New Zealand this year. Normally in a World Cup year, they're very measured in their build-up, and they want to peak at the World Cup. But I think because of the situation, maybe they've taken a different approach. And I've never seen a New Zealand team come out in the Rugby Championship, ready to go straight away, fly in. And we've seen that in the first 2 games. Probably the first 40 minutes they've played have been some of the best rugby we've seen for a while. So, and maybe that's got to do with the coach appointment, because I know the players, value him greatly as a coach, and we all know he's a good rugby man. So they're playing with a lot of passion and a lot of drive and a lot of direction. And so it's, for us, it's the ultimate test.
Is it enough to just lose attitude, do you think?
I think a little bit. It might be a little bit of that, mate. Let's show them what we've got. Let's not hold back. Whereas before, it's been maybe we just want to get the World Cup and do it. And that approach can be highly successful, and it also has its disadvantages.
And Alan, just on that, congratulations for being on Kevin, but how important is it to make that fast start by the All Blacks for you guys?
We're well aware of that. We understand that our team, we've got to start fast too, and preparing for different scenarios that may happen. So we applied that at training this week, and across the group, we're well aware of that.
Last couple of things, Phil.
Eddie, you talked about returning Australian rugby to its traditional structure, while allowing players to express themselves when the opportunity arises. Just in your selection of Nike Mark, on the wing. Does he almost typify that approach, and especially considering the plays he made against Argentina last week?
Yeah, well, I think that's always been the strength of Australian rugby. You know, when we've had a good, tough forward pack, been able to take it to the Kiwis physically, and then had a back line that's a bit inventive. You know, that's always been our point of difference. And we need World Rugby to have teams with points of difference, you know. And that's what we're trying to create here in the team, a team with a point of difference that plays an Australian way. And there's nothing better than Australian rugby taking on New Zealand rugby. You know, because the New Zealanders all think they're better than us. You know, they always have. And so we get an opportunity.
Was your mindset always going to be, and your team selection always going to be this way, even though you've lost the first two? Always throw everything at throw the sink at the All Blacks?
Well, we always wanted to come up with the right balance of team. You know, I'm still getting to know the players, and the players are still getting to know me. So there's been, you know, a little bit of orientation period, and we needed to find out where the best balance of the team is. But you know, just watching the team train yesterday, I like the look of it. You know, big centres, Karuvi, Pattaya hitting the line, Marika, what's his name, Mark. I can't say his last name. It's embarrassing. You know, pace on the wings, Kelleher, good communicator at fullback, and then Carter being able to take the line, and a big strong forward pack. Like it's a good pack, and you know, there's not too many people outside our group that thinks we can win the game, but there'll be 85,000 people that might be in for a shock.
Eddie, you coached England for a long while against New Zealand. Is it different now coaching the All Blacks when you're the Wallabies coach? It's been a long time.
It is, mate, because it's your own country, you know. It means a lot more. Without devaluing coaching England, you know, I enjoyed coaching England. I love them. Good bunch of players, but you know, imagine tomorrow or Saturday night, 85,000 people, the biggest rugby crowd since 2007, and they've come to watch, you know, two teams that have got good respect for each other, but you know, at the same time they dislike each other. You know, and there's nothing better than winning against New Zealand, because you feel the country sinking, right? It's not just rugby sinks, the country sinks. You know, the whole economy goes down. Like the Prime Minister's there with his fingers crossed hoping the All Blacks win, because he knows the economy's going to drop if they lose. And so we can have that effect, and at the same time then the Australia kids want to play rugby again, because at the moment too many of them want to play AFL. I was going past the school the other day and they were playing AFL in basketball, right? So we want kids to play rugby because it's the greatest game of all. So we've got a bit of a job here to do. You know, maybe put the New Zealand Prime Minister on call that the economy's going to suffer, and at the same time raise our stakes here.
It's already pretty bad.
Oh, well, we can help a bit more, mate. Might help the economic balance of the world. I'm sure there's people with more brains than me that work that out.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.